I used to be an avid hiker and was always looking for the thrill of the unknown in the wilderness. My love of the outdoors led me to come across a post on Reddit about a remote cabin deep in the woods where tourists could stay for free. It was thought to be a hidden gem, a serene retreat away from the hustle and bustle of civilization. One crisp fall morning, I decided to embark on this adventure. Armed with a backpack of essentials and a trusty map, I set off toward the lodge. The path seemed simple enough you had to follow, a marked trail that looped through dense forest for several miles. As I went deeper into the forest, the atmosphere became more and more ominous. The trees loomed overhead, their gaunt branches casting eerie shadows. The silence was oppressive, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Ignoring the anxiety, I continued onward, intent on reaching the hut. After several hours walking, I finally reached it. The hut stood in a small clearing, a quaint structure of aged wood with a rusty iron stovepipe sticking out of the roof. It had a kind of eerie charm to it, and a sense of nostalgia came over me. I decided to spend the night there as I had planned. As darkness fell, I fired up the old stove and settled down with a book. The crackling of the fire was a little comforting from the coming darkness, but the feeling that I was being watched never left me. It grew stronger by the hour. Anxiety turned to paranoia, and I peered out the cabin windows, scanning the woods for any movement. Around midnight, the silence was broken by a distant, blood-chilling scream. My heart raced, and I rushed to put out the fire and lock all the doors and windows. I hid in a corner, clutching a penknife, and prayed that what was there would go away. Hours passed, but the screams didn't stop, each one closer than the last. Thoughts of wild animals or crazy tourists flashed through my mind. I couldn't take it anymore and finally got up the courage to look out through the crack in the window. What I saw would haunt me for the rest of my days. A group of hooded men surrounded the hut, their faces hidden by masks. They chanted in an incomprehensible language, their voices eerie and guttural. The flames of the fire flickered ominously, casting eerie shadows on the walls of the hut. In a panic, I reached for the phone, but realized there was no signal. I was trapped, alone in the woods with ominous strangers. My mind flashed with thoughts of how to get out. I couldn't stay in the cabin. It was only a matter of time before they broke in. I boldly stepped out the back door and dashed into the dark woods. The figures pursued me, their chants growing louder and more ominous. I ran blindly through the thickets, my heart pounding like a drum. The forest seemed endless, and I was desperate to find my way back to civilization. Eventually, exhausted and disoriented, I stumbled upon another trail that led me to safety. I never looked back. I was scared to even think about what might have happened if I had stayed in that damn cabin. To this day, I don't know who those hooded men were or what they wanted. The one thing I've learned for sure is that not all Reddit recommendations are worth following, especially if they lead to a cabin in the woods with a sinister secret. Many years have passed since that terrifying night, but the memories continue to haunt me. I've tried to unravel what happened, but the more I delved into the mystery, the darker and more mysterious it became. In search of answers, I returned to Reddit in hopes of finding clues or similar experiences. To my surprise, I found a thread discussing that very cabin in the woods. Many other users were sharing their creepy stories, each one scarier than the last. Some claimed to have encountered the same hooded figures. Others claimed to have heard strange and human whispers in the dark of night. One even told of discovering a secret cellar beneath the hut, filled with cryptic symbols and strange artifacts. As I delved deeper into these stories, a disturbing pattern emerged. Everyone who stayed at the cabin experienced intense feelings of fear and paranoia, many claiming to have been haunted by hooded figures. Some told of waking up with mysterious wounds or unexplained illnesses. The more I learned, the clearer it became that the cabin was no ordinary shelter in the woods. It was a place imbued with dark and evil energies, a center of inexplicable horrors. And yet it beckoned to unsuspecting tourists like moths to a flame, promising privacy and tranquility. Determined to uncover the truth, I decided to contact the local authorities and share the information I had gathered. They conducted an investigation. In and around the lodge, what they discovered sent shivers down their spines. Hidden beneath the cabin, just as some Reddit users had described, was a subterranean chamber adorned with disturbing symbols and ritualistic paraphernalia. It appeared to have been used for unspeakable purposes. Though the true nature of those rituals remained a mystery, the authorities deemed the cabin a danger to the public and had it demolished, hoping to eradicate the sinister presence that had plagued the area for so long. Despite their efforts, the cabin's dark legacy continues to linger. A cautionary tale whisper among hikers and adventurers who venture too deep into those haunted woods. I often wonder what those hooded figures were, what dark forces they served, and why they had chosen that desolate cabin as their center of operation. One thing is certain, that Reddit Horror Story was not a mere tale spun for thrills, was a warning, a glimpse into a realm of terror that still lurks in the forgotten corners of the wilderness, waiting for its next unsuspecting victim.